News or other things around. We start to apply at Kenya, and we also have our key achievements. Lift us all the business cases that come here, and we're doing a great job. I have another team over here.
Yeah, the ones who don't sleep.
Yes. Cases since we came here. So the families will come and report their cases and then we follow up. We do not have so many cases. But basically, on average, I think we receive around 50. Look at our embassies and the staff that is available. We do not really have...
Yes.
There is also a clarion among wananchi, serikali saidia. In fact, when numbers on the border.
So we receive quite a number of calls, and especially when we're having maybe a crisis outside in any of the countries, we call center. And we will come to have a sense.
Gone through capacity building. Our call center has a call and WhatsApp line.
Hapa ni diaspora. Anastasia.
And
number.
they can be able to connect Kenyans here.
Okay, so kindly, I have.
Diaspora.
With a +97 number.
Plus a 97 number. And that's it. And then they say...
You can continue. So as you can see, it is a working station.
It is.
That is why the calls are coming in as we're here.
And the largest number of calls is from dawn to around 10 to 11 p.m. And we trust that this is a channel that is coming to us. Thank you. Global politics. Most of our calls are outbound because we do get calls, and then I can say it's the surge hours between the 10 to 12 a.m. We do make sure that the call is.
You've already heard a lot from the welfare department, but we have a new nascent department called the multilateral. That particular video, Excellency, we would wish to kindly invite you if you allow. Very excited for them to hear and speak to them, and then we will be able to have a
Thank you very much, Balozi. Thank you very much, Balozi, and
all this time. So having you around with us and feeling and embracing
Sectors of governance and leadership in this country, what tips would you give us about?
Well, the first one, I think I agree with you. We need I had a chance to go to the World Bank, this is MEGA, and we had not yet matured as a country for a diaspora bond because you need to have a critical mass of resources that the diaspora remit to a nation to be able to have the gravitas to generate sufficient attraction to a diaspora bond. And that was 2 years ago. But today, I can tell you the figures they gave of maturity, Kenya has now matured to have a diaspora bond. And that is how we can help them channel their resources effectively and also invest in infrastructure and other things that we want to do in this country. You've heard the President talk of an infrastructure fund and so forth. Within that fund, it's part of the place where the diaspora can also invest. And the remittances of the diaspora alone can build a new Jomo Kenyatta airport if they are channeled, aggregated and channeled properly. We can actually build a new Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. That's what the Kenyans living out there are now capable of doing, provided we have the right investment vehicles and the right areas that they can invest. So that's important from the economic perspective. When we were having another meeting, the Treasury brought out their data, and in their statistics, they show that the diaspora remittances have now hit $5 billion and $80, which is clearly $1 trillion plus, as at the end of November. Now, that's a lot of money. And that contribution is helping us as a nation manage our exchange reserves, which are now 5 months cover. Ordinarily, for those of you who have done economics, many people would always talk about a 3 months import cover and so forth. But right now, Kenya's reserves are actually 5 months cover. That is $12 billion. So we have a 5 months import cover. That brings stability in the economy. The money may not be coming directly to the government of Kenya, because I think that is also what we need to tell people to understand. It's coming into the economy of Kenya. You know, when you say the diaspora have remitted 5 billion or 1 trillion, the ordinary person walking in the streets thinks that directly the government of Kenya has received 1 trillion shillings. That is not the case. It's the economy of Kenya that has received 1 trillion Kenya shillings, which is then channeled into the economy through their families, through their investments, and in the process, then it buttresses the Kenyan shilling, our currency, against hard or other international currencies. Hello? Hapa ni diaspora. Anastasia. Aha, sema Anastasia. Okay, kwanza unapiga kutoka wapi? Aha, anapiga kutoka Murang'a. Hebu niambie majina yako yote. Anastasia Mwangi. Haya. Basi nieleze. Dada yako anaitwa nani? Faith Mwangi. Haya, na yuko wapi? Aha. Aha.
Hi, good afternoon.
What's the name
Yes.
of the
This is the speaking. How can I be of assistance today? Good afternoon, Sheila. Yeah.
Saudi
I
Arabia.
recommend you to email the department through Kazimaju at diaspora.ke. There. Yes. K-A-Z-I. Yes, like Kazim.
Faith Mwanzo.
Yes. Kazimaju. Yes.
Okay, alienda Nyamakima na hakuonekana tena. Sasa umempata kwa simu, amewapigia kwa namba 97. Haya, mtu atakusaidia Anastasia Mwangi. Haya, nitakupa. Haya, ujumbe umefika, lakini sasa nitakupatia mtaalamu msikizane vizuri kabisa, sivyo? Haya, ngoja kidogo. Haya, kuna msichana hapa anaitwa Elizabeth, atakuongelesha. Haya. Okay, ulikuwa naongea na Mheshimiwa Mudavadi, lakini Elizabeth atakusaidia. Haya. Ngoja kidogo. Okay. Anastasia Mwangi. And her sister is Faith Mwangi. Somebody who should know better, who actually knows better, but chooses to mislead, was saying that why do we want to privatize Kenya Pipeline, which is one of the most profitable entities? Oh, this should not happen. The usual thing, haki yetu. I want to tell you, we privatized a bigger entity, which was no longer making that kind of money, KPTC, Kenya Posts and Telecommunications Union. With courage, commitment, and showing that the world was changing, we were able to now liberalize. I'm the one who actually made sure Safaricom took off, if you don't know. Because I liberalized, I had the courage, but to do it through persuasion and logic. So we have Safaricom today. Today, Safaricom is the biggest taxpayer in Kenya, the largest company in Kenya, the most profitable company in Kenya, and the largest foreign direct investor in Ethiopia. Courage, commitment, integrity with facts. So as young people, you can change things. You can change how we do things. Kenya Revenue Authority. Go back to the history. I am the one who put it in place as the Minister for Finance. Took the legislation to Parliament, persuaded everybody that we had to change the ways we collect revenue. We cannot have the old Customs Department, Income Tax Department, and so forth. We had to change it. So I'm giving you these examples that if I could do it, you can do it. Those of you in this room and young people who are not in this room, you're capable of doing it. But we have to be focused, we have to be disciplined, and we have to know that there are no shortcuts. Please, let's remember that. There are no shortcuts. I was Minister for Finance. There was price control. It was a closed economy. It was full of monopolies, full of parastatals that were just not making money, but they were there to create jobs for people. I took a bold step, working very firmly, carefully, with the respect that is required with President Moi, until I persuaded him that we have to liberalize the economy. Because I knew he had the authority. But you don't confront authority all times with belligerence. You have to also confront authority with persuasion and logic. That was what I chose to do. So what did I do? After that, I removed all the price controls in the economy. That is why we have a free market economy. It used to be a controlled economy, where the Minister for Finance would wait and say, from midnight tonight, the price of sugar is going to go up by 2 shillings. You don't hear those things from midnight tonight. It's because we opened up the economy and we liberalized. It took courage, dedication, persuasion, and facts. We can do it as young people as we go into the future. You have to find a way of communicating to your peers and telling them it's more complex than they imagine. It's much more complex than they imagine. And also to constantly remind them through various communication channels that I think we can work together on and adopt, for them to realize that what I've been trying to tell them, that the moment you step out of the Kenyan boundaries, it's not our constitution that applies. It's not. Sasa ile chanting haki yetu, haki yetu. Haki yetu under which constitution? Which constitution is applicable? It's not the 2010 constitution that we have here. Once you have left, that chant is about another constitution. It's not about the Kenyan constitution. And this is what many people have been forgetting and taking for granted. And in the process, we are seeing more and more cases of distress. But frankly speaking, what does it cost to obey the law? It is cheaper to obey the law, and it is very expensive to disregard the law. If you obey the law, you don't need a lawyer. If you disregard the law, you are likely to be looking for a lawyer. So which is cheaper?